Alright, so what's up guys, thank you for joining the video. We have a bunch of leaked information to cover regarding Black Ops 3 Zombies, just pure straight up code right from the game. It's absolutely insane. We're going to be going through three main points of this video. One is a really weird like painting Easter egg thing that's found within the garage trophy on the hatchery from the code though, which is really weird, not in the actual game, but it's also relating back to Shadows of Evil. Such a weird Easter egg. I'll talk about that in a second. Also, the main points of this video really is going to be Takeo's Katana being fully rendered within its sheath the whole time. It's just like the holder for the katana or whatever. That just doesn't make sense, and we'll talk about that maybe appearing within DLC 4 and why that's the case. But the main point here is obviously the DLC 4 child Takeo information, because we talked about in the last video, the last huge DLC 4 leaked information video, how Takeo, his child version, is within DLC 4, and we presume that obviously it's not just going to be Takeo, it's going to be everyone else's. But we actually have some sort of confirmation that yes, it's going to be there. It's actually rendered. There's textures of it within the code, and all of that's going to be within the description. But before we start the video, before we start discussing this, if we can go for a 300 like goal, that'd be greatly appreciated. The DLC 4 hype is honestly real, and the last leaked information video for DLC 4, like the big one that I did with the Marguas and the child within DLC 4 that pertaining to Takeo, obviously, that got 437 likes. So thank you guys so much for that. If we can just go for 300 likes, that'd be absolutely insane. Another DLC 4 leaked informational video confirming the children stuff with that and just going through a bunch of other stuff. That would be just really insane. So thank you guys for that, and let's get started. So let's start off here with a really weird Easter egg. I'm just gonna spend a couple minutes on this because it just doesn't make sense. So within the files, you have this code. I'm gonna read you guys the code, and keep in mind ZOD is Shadows of Evil, and that's just a weird code name for that, but ZOD is Shadows of Evil. So here's the code. It says ZM underscore ZOD underscore picture underscore girl underscore man underscore forest. It has a bunch of different lines of code, different variants of that, and if you're looking at the images here, obviously I can't show it up on screen because of obvious copyright reasons, but if you go in the description, you're gonna see you have a family of 3 in the background of a forest just standing there, whatever, and then there's another version of the family of 3 as zombies. It makes no sense, and it's really creepy. It's a really creepy image, and again, found within garage trophy in the hatchery from the code. I don't think it's in the actual game, but it's from the code and it relates back to the hatchery. But then you have the ZM underscore ZOD, which is from Shadows of Evil, and that's relating back to Shadows of Evil, but the forest relating back to the main menu of Black Ops 3. Does this make sense at all? No, it doesn't. I have no clue what I literally can't explain any of this because it's just the creepiest, insane, weirdest Easter egg I've ever seen. It makes no sense. So I don't know. If you guys know anything regarding this, let me know in the comments below. I just wanted to show you guys this because it's just so freaking weird, man. It relates back to like so many like random maps, but we just don't know why it's the case. But I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, let's move on here with Takeo's Katana. So Takeo's Katana, obviously you see it, it's in the code, it's in the game, and we talked about this being a code because before DLC 2 came out, we saw within the code that the Takeo's Katana would be there, and we were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a wonder weapon. We're gonna see it usable within the game. And you see it within all these trailers, all these intro cutscenes, all these different cinematics. You see Takeo wielding his katana all the time, but we're just like, wait, why can't we use it? It's there, it's in the code. And now we have something really weird, how Takeo's katana is fully rendered inside the sheath at all times. So at all times within the code, within the cinematics, within everything, his katana is fully modeled within the game. So you know how you're walking around and you're like moving in Takeo, so not just even the cinematics anymore, just while you're in the game and Takeo's katana is on his back in the sheath, it's the katana is rendered inside of that. If you guys don't know, you don't need to do that. Obviously, if we can't see the katana within the game, why would they fully render it? You know, why would they fully render it as we're playing the game? At no point in Black Ops 3 Zombies were we able to take the katana out and use it for ourselves. This obviously hinting at something very interesting. Maybe it's rendered because within DLC 4, we'll actually be able to take Takeo's katana off his back and actually open it up from the sheath and actually use it as a melee weapon for DLC 4. Whether it's just the map, the Easter egg, whatever, the fact that it's fully rendered within the sheath at all times as we're playing the Black Ops 3 zombie maps, just pick any map that Takeo's on within Black Ops 3, the katana is in there at all times. Why would they render that? Because maybe it's going to be used, and that's the most probable thing, it would be used for another DLC map. Maybe they'll unlock it for all of the maps once you do something with the DLC 4. Maybe that's the case. That's why it's rendered in all the maps, because it'll be unlockable at a later date, sort of like the Apothicon Servant within Shadows of Evil. Maybe that's the case. I'm not so sure. Again, it's such a weird thing, man. Why would they render Takeo's Katana within there if we're not even using it? Makes no sense, man. Makes absolutely no sense. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that as well. And again, the last one here, DLC 4 child texture. So within the code, the texture for Takeo as a child is just flat out there. So I'm gonna read you guys this. It's actually really weird because it's, okay, so let me just read you the code. It's zom underscore DLC4 underscore child underscore Takeo, and then wait for this, underscore hair. Okay, so yeah, you heard that right. So Takeo's hair is within the code of Black Ops 3 Zombies when he was a child. Bruh, I don't know anymore. I don't. Treyarch is literally just, this is honestly the one single video where I just can't even understand anything that I'm talking about right now. It just makes no sense. He's just like the weirdest piece of information I've ever covered. I don't, Takeo's hair, the link is in the description. This isn't some fake stuff. This is from the code. This is real, you know? This is real leaked information from the code. It's nothing fake. Like, no, this is not fake. Takeo's hair is within the code. How does that make sense? I have no clue. I don't know if his hair is going to be important. I don't know if that just means like they have separate files for his hair. I didn't think they would have separate files for these characters' hairs. Like, I don't know, man. But anyway, that's besides the point, because again, it gives us further confirmation that yes, you know, these children are within the code. But another thing, why is it only Takeo? Why are we only finding these Takeo codes? Obviously, we would presume that since Takeo is a child within DLC 4, all the other characters would be a child as well within DLC 4. You know, whether or not it's the Easter egg ending cutscene or the intro or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Within DLC 4 at some point, we will see these children, obviously the original characters as children, but only Takeo here. And again, why would they render Takeo's hair as a specific thing? Like, is his hair gonna, I don't know. I can't even give an explanation of why his hair is there. But again, the render, the fact that there's a texture of something for DLC 4 regarding the children within, you know, DLC 4 relations from the original cast, or the original crew, that makes sense. That is something that is very important. Doesn't matter what the render or texture actually is. Doesn't matter that it's Takeo's hair as a child. The fact that Takeo as a child has a render is just insane. So again, gives us further confirmation that yes, within the code, they have plans to release these children into the game as actual people. Like, we're not just gonna hear about them. We're not just gonna be like, oh, the children are here. It's not like lines of code for quotes about the children. This is actual renders and textures of the specific children within the game that we're gonna see, or that we're gonna play as maybe. I don't even know, honestly. So it's gonna be insane. The fact that we have this is definitely further confirmation from my other video, where I again talked about DLC 4, Takeo, child. I'm pretty sure that was the sort of line of code that we saw. Again, that gave us some pretty good confirmation. This is just a variation of it, but with actual proof, with actual textures from the game. If you guys don't know, sometimes from these codes you can actually get textures as well. Some code files don't have these textures, some do. Especially, this is a render of an actual character, so obviously this one would actually have a texture, and unfortunately it's hair, so we can't actually see the character itself, which is really, really weird. But again, at least it's something, at least it's some sort of proof that yes, we'll be seeing these children, or at least Takeo for some random reason, as a child within DLC 4. So again, this is all the leaked information. I don't know if Takeo's Katana being leaked and Takeo's hair being leaked has any sort of relation. Maybe we'll actually see Takeo as a child using the katana, maybe that's why. But it still doesn't explain why his katana is fully within the sheath at all times. And I'm really just on that because there's just so much random stuff. I just don't know anymore, man. Are we gonna use the katana? Is Takeo as a child gonna use the katana? Is Takeo gonna be the only goddamn child that we see within DLC 4? Because as of now, we're only seeing Takeo. It's like all Takeo information for DLC 4, which makes no sense, man. Unless it's just a coincidence that we're seeing Takeo's katana, Takeo's child, Takeo, no, not Takeo's child, that's pretty weird. Takeo as a child, but his hair in the code, it's all revolving Takeo, but it's not his map. This is Revelations, it's DLC 4. I don't know, man. I have no freaking clue. I'm presuming that we're gonna see more information very soon regarding the other children as well, once people actually look through the code and actually find different parts of it. And again, this actually goes back to something else. Maybe what I said before, how, okay, Takeo's Katana, it was in a Black Ops 3 mod tool, and I made a video and I was talking about, like, okay, so, like, what if each of the characters had their own sort of weapon? Now, think about this. What if all this stuff within the code is actually coming to life because the children are gonna use these weapons, but as toys? You know how like within Origins, the ending cutscene, everything was a toy, everything is basically just a game. So what if all these iconic sort of weapons that these characters have been using, like Takeo with his katana, are just gonna be used as like play swords and just random play stuff at the end of Revelations within that Easter egg ending cutscene? Maybe that would make sense as to why they're rendering the sword. Maybe that makes sense as to why they're rendering the children, as to why they're gonna render all of this stuff, because obviously we already had the sword within Shadows of Evil, so it doesn't really make sense for them to have another sword within the game. So I'm thinking the only way you would be able to use the Takeo sword is if it's like a children version of it, or if it's like in the cutscene, or if it's like an Easter egg step or something like that. So that's the only way you can use that as well. I don't know, man, I'm just so hung up on this Takeo stuff, it really doesn't make any sense. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Just to go back to the painting for one last time, because it's sort of, I had this whole tangent on the children and Takeo, but like, just go back to the painting. Is that gonna mean something with the forest thing? I don't know. Like I said, I mean, there's also a child there as well. I don't know if that child is relating back to what Nikolai says about, you know, saving the future for the children. I'm guessing he means his past self as a child, but it could also mean this child as well. Obviously, you have these guys turning into zombies. I don't know if the forest or these family are going to be talked about within DLC 4 on how they actually turned into zombies, how the zombie apocalypse started. Maybe the forest within the main menu of Black Ops 3, and obviously also within the leaked information, will be a huge center point of this game as well within Revelations. Seeing how that forest was actually there, why there's a forest, why at the end of every Black Ops 3 map you see a pan of a forest, like that stuff is going to be explained. And maybe this image here with the family in the forest is sort of a teaser as to probably some sort of story as to why they're there and why the forest is there and why the forest is within the Black Ops 3 menu. I think that's probably going to be a relation with the forest, but it could be anything else. You never know. But it's within the code. Like this freaking family within the forest is within the code. So obviously it's going to mean something. Obviously they have plans for it to be something within the game. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think about this. Again, all the leaks are within the description below. Just such a random video, man. I'm sorry, but it's just like, I just don't, like, when I get information like this, and it's just so weird and so peculiar, and just doesn't make sense. Like, when you have the Margwas and the Great War stuff, I like talking about that stuff, because it's like, okay, you can directly relate that. There are different theories out there, different stuff actually hinting at this, but this is just, like, out of the, I don't know, man. The child stuff is just more confirmation, but the fact that his hair is there, bro, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll see you guys later.